That is filling up. Let me actually switch over to the 100% scene. Just so I know it's... this was supposed to be just a test stream. I didn't intend to just let this run the entire way through. Because internet connection was wonky. It's mostly fine now, and I hope it stays fine. But yeah, this thing... I have my splits. Happy New Year! And for those that already know, it's not necessarily gonna be initially a Happy New Year. I hope it's gonna be a better New Year very soon, because that can happen too. It's 2 AM here in Australia already. Oh wow. Happy New Year! For some reason, and I don't know why I have that mindset, in my mind, Australia and Japan have the same time zone. And I just kind of know the Japanese time zone by now, but Happy New Year to Australia, I suppose. I should have started 2 hours earlier then, huh? Yeah, thank you so much, John Knox. You're welcome. I hope you enjoy your stay. Hello from the world of the past. Yep. This run is going to take so long. We're going to only finish it in the new year. By the way, real quick, these are the same splits as last year. So technically we have a comparison, but I'm not gonna worry about the comparison. Because this is most likely going to be slower, both because I'm reasonably sure we got ridiculously lucky last year, and I'm not nearly as practiced in the game anymore. And oh my goodness, the rump parade has been unleashed. All the rabbits are just rump, eating everything. Make sure you hide your food, hide your wallet, hide your shoes, because everything is gonna get rumped. They can eat... Did you know that the rabbit can eat an entire melon that is slightly larger than it? And it's gone in a surprisingly quick amount of time. It's fascinating. Alrighty. I need to go and walk to the bathroom real quick, and then we begin. So, again, if you have any name suggestions for the cactus, I'm happy to hear and be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. Happy New Year to Japan, I think, and friends. Okay, I would suggest let's get started, shall we? Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Let me check chat for suggestions. Actually, real quick, hang on. If I'm not mistaken, last year we did in fact have Happy New Year already for the names, now that I think about it. This is year... Oops. We have Happy as the boy and New as the lady. So... maybe switch it up this time. I literally just remembered that. This was the 100% run from last year. Let's see. Oh dear. Your cat stole your chair again. Oh boy. Happy New Year, Xcodes, and welcome. Rob. Alright, I have already an idea. Let me go for... Munch, crunch, and thunk, clearly. Alright. Chat votes for names? You can make name suggestions. I should have thought ahead on what I want to put in there to begin with. Like, I should have had a list, but I'm pretty sure I already did that last time. What, Yagamoth? Yo-yo? We only have 6 characters, by the way. Smashy. New Year's themed names. Lotte for the lady. Frankie. Alrighty. $2022. You actually... So fun fact, if we want to play glitchless, we can't try to name this the same name to 2 characters. It will actually give you the starting equipment twice or 3 times, depending on how many times you click. You can kind of mess up the inventory that way. Struggle Realm 10. 2002. Okay, I actually like that suggestion. Let's go with this. I need to start because this is gonna be long enough. Let's go with 20022. I think that is quite fitting. Alrighty, everybody. This, I hope it's gonna be a better year for everybody. Even if you had a great year last time somehow, I hope it's gonna be even better now. Let's get started. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. And Keishora, thank you for the good luck, I appreciate it. Welcome back for 45 months. And I'm glad you enjoy your stay. Alrighty everybody, so welcome to Seeker of Mana 100%. This is the second, specifically this kind of run of this iteration. I'm starting here at around 4 PM afternoon on, well, the last day of the year. The plan is to just go into the next year with the entire run. I expect this to take more than 20 hours. Chances are pretty high that it's going to be 24 hours and a little bit more. We'll see how it's going to be. And let me real quick give you my definition for 100% Seeker of Mana. Because there is not technically an official speedrun leaderboard for anything like that. It's just kind of what I'm making out of this. And 100% is here, in this case, glitchless, which means I'm going to play by the glitchless rule set of the speedrunning community. And the definition is every character needs to reach maximum level, which is 99. Every character needs to have every single weapon leveled up to the highest possible level, which is 8.99 for every weapon except the sword. The sword actually can only go up to level 8.00, because the Mana Sword is technically the last upgrade, and if you play glitchless, you can't get the Mana Sword that early. It just doesn't work. You can use a glitch to get the Mana Sword early and level up the sword up to 8.99 as well. That's kind of what I did in the very first 100% run. That one took almost 33 hours. So, aside from that, what I'm also going to be collecting is I'm collecting the highest defense value pieces of equipment for each individual slot. And then just kind of each of them goes unique. I have an entire list of equipment pieces. So basically, there's only a total of 11 available inventory slots per, well, armor, helmet, and accessory. And I'm just taking the highest defense value to the lowest. That way, we will collect every single one that is exclusively a rare drop. There's also going to be a few of the equipment pieces that are going to be just items we will want to buy from shops. Those are not as interesting as the ones that we will just want to buy. So there's gonna be that one. Alrighty, and did I forget anything? There's also a little FAQ in the spreadsheet that is linked through the link. So if you have any more questions, maybe it's answered there. But feel free to ask, and as usual, I'm terrible at reading chat. Not intentionally, so I'm just slow. So feel free to ask multiple times. Crit. So I'm just killing a few rabbits here along the way, because this will allow me to level up the sword to level 1. The beginning of this run is going to be largely similar to a glitchless speedrun, but it will deviate decently heavily as we go along, because there's going to be more incentive for me to just level weapons up along the way, rather than specifically waiting. Alrighty. And I forgot to refill my water jug. Good job. There's still a little bit of water in there, but not enough. By the way, I kind of plan on trying to take a break every 2-ish hours. Normally, generally speaking, I don't have much of a problem with just going on for 6 to 8 hours without a break. But because I'm going to be planning on going for the long run here, I will want to get up, stretch, and walk around for a while. JPRX, thank you. Thank you so much for 14 months of support. Welcome back, and I'm glad you enjoy your stay. Welcome to the Mantis Hunt. There's a few ways of efficiently and quickly dispatching of this guy. The fastest one that we figured out so far in the speedrunning community is just stand in front of him and swing, and hope that you hit him before he hits you. Also face to the right there in order to get Monk to the left. And this is the first boss down. You have a question regarding to learning the Ranzig of Mana. What category would you recommend for beginners? That's actually a difficult one. I wanted to introduce a category for beginners, but it didn't really catch on. Let's put it this way. The category I would recommend to learn is 1 player 2 controller. That might sound counterintuitive, but it's basically the category with the most resources, and you also have the money glitch to just kind of aid you in buying additional equipment and armor defense initially, until you get used to the movement, etc. You can also buy infinite supplies. That's kind of the biggest difficulty about speedrunning glitchless, where it might just be, well, kind of slow otherwise to get started. And no, thank you so much for 49 months of support with Prime Gaming. Welcome back, and I'm glad you enjoy your stay. That's really nice of you, thank you so much. Also, I'm not prepared for donations at all today. Thank you. Happy New Year. Califax47 donated $20.22. 2022. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you so much. Oops, I I don't think I've ever accidentally pressed the Y button on that dialogue option there. Y is going the other way around. Alright. So by the way, because I haven't practiced the game in a while, there will be probably a few slowness and hiccups for the most part, but I hope I'm still going to do the game reasonably well justice. I actually have put the important things that I need to pick up along the way that are not in any other route into the split, so if I don't see them or don't mention them, please do yell at me that, hey, Yaga, pick up the Javelin Orb in Matanga. Stuff like that is pretty important, because otherwise we have to farm an additional one in the Pana Fortress. Let's see. I did just miss something. Hi, Namilla, thank you. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you so much for 43 months. Welcome back. I'm glad you enjoy your stay. Thank you so much. That's quite a long time. Alrighty. Welcome everybody. Now I need to also make sure that I don't save over the old 100% run. Well, I mean I could, but because I'm making a new one. But it would kind of be neat to have like a series of consecutive years of runs, I suppose. Pick up the additional orb in that town you mentioned. Fair enough. Hello and welcome. I can only promise to yell at you every 2 hours. Well, that's already quite a lot actually. I do appreciate that too. Oh yeah, that's a good point. This version of Secret of Mana I'm playing is on the Super Nintendo Mini version specifically. So I'm playing an SES Mini, which is also why whenever there's like occasional flashing, this is the reason why I'm playing this version, by the way. The flashing is significantly toned down via the emulator scripts of the Super Nintendo Mini. So if you have some potential problem with flashing, so to speak, or like stuff like that, this version should hopefully be fine. I guess it kind of depends on the severity, but this really significantly tones down the flashing effects of various cutscenes and such, which is the main reason why I personally prefer playing this version over basically any other. And holy cow. I will be able to wave at you occasionally, Kyo, but for the most part I need 2 hands in order to go fast. But Kyo, hello. Like here I can wave, I guess. Hello, Happy New Year. Oh, and waving at Komaru as well. I can use both hands to wave right now, but soon I can't anymore. Welcome everybody, I hope you have a most pleasant day. I also hope you can do this one-handed for a while. Not really, actually. I need both hands because in order to get through areas efficiently and quickly, I effectively need to be able to dash and run. Otherwise, I'm actually running into pretty significant danger. Oh, muscle memory. I don't need to actually go over here. Oh, that's kind of funny. So, you don't actually, in a glitchless run, you don't actually go and save here. I just muscle memoried my way in here. You just go straight over here instead. So, but yeah, I'm waving in between this intersection right now, but I do need to run in these sections here. But yeah, this section of the game, because it's a glitchless run, is actually decently dangerous. I will have to make some stops here in order to survive efficiently. Okay, that's really lucky, no low damage rolls. I also want to reach the next level, and I need enough money in order to be able to buy at least some power wrists. Hello, Mo! Hey, Wurty. I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year! Oh, I'm dead, probably. Yep. Welcome to the first reset. I can wave again. Good thing I saved here. Roll a d20. Oh, that's... okay. I'm waving by rolling a d20. Well, not right now, but I can do that in here. There we go. Oh my goodness. Would you like a reroll? It's a 1. It's a 1 on the d20, Anna. You have 1 luck point to spend per session. Then again, ones can be fun. Roll again. Alright, hang on. I need to not die in between here. Okay, we don't get as lucky. We have about 20-ish% chance to get a low... Yeah, this is expected. A low damage roll. Also, this is a 50% chance to be a trap. Oh, we got a trap. It should be fine. Either way, roll again. 5. Oh my goodness. Again, you have 1 luck point to spend if you'd like to spend that. And you can let the thing reroll. There we go, that's what I'm supposed to do. I haven't leveled up the sword yet, so I can't do a charge attack to make this slightly safer. And I'm dead again. Jesus. I should have done a practice run, but I tried to finish Final Fantasy X yesterday. Oh my goodness. But at the same time, once we get to a certain point, specifically the Fire Palace, generally speaking, it's gonna be smooth sailing from there, because that's where the first decently large grind is going to happen for weapon levels. So yeah. Oh no. This is not easy. Uh-oh. I should just reset. This is not how this is supposed to work at all. Yaga implying your halflings when you say we have inherent luck. Oh no, that's a luck trait. You have the luck feat. Which is why you can reroll anything you want rather than just... I'm gonna reset this. Oh my goodness. Are we just axing for directions? I don't have an axe yet, but they do. So I can't axe for directions, but they axe me to leave. Alright, we need to level up here a little bit anyways, and the level up gave me some experience. Actually, I just realized there's no point in me leveling up the spear, because the spear is gonna stay at level 1, specifically. Alright, this should make it a bit safer here, because now I have a charge. I do want to kill some more enemies in order to get a bit of money for a power wrist, both for safety as well as actually attack power. Happy New Year, Dark Shadow Rage. Also, I'm sorry, I probably missed a bunch of things in chat in the meantime because I needed to really focus on the game there. And I'm still not out of the difficult parts yet. May your 2022 be amazing and awesome. Thank you. I hope so will be yours. I missed your awesome D&D story. I'm sorry. I also need to wave in between occasionally, whenever I can. Which I right now cannot. This is too dangerous. Level 420? Oh my goodness. Not getting lucky in the rolls. Speaking of rolls, speaking of 20, I just rolled again. If you want to use your luck point, it's a 20 this time. We're touching all the extremes right now. And I'm just going. I will figure out how much more money I need afterwards. I need to go here. Alright, in glitchless I need to go over here first, because we get our money back from the theater, but we will spend it in... What? We need 100 gold left over in the end. This also gives me an indication of how much money we have to begin with. The universe has been balanced. Yep, 322. I'm pretty sure that's not enough, actually. Huh. You like the tiny little Twitter shoutout and the layout? Oh yeah. I think it was Hairplan who created that one. I think it's pretty clever. By the way, fun fact in case you're ever wondering, because there's two screen transitions if you go back in, as opposed to just one screen transition right here. If you go this way around is actually faster to run than going back in and then to the right. Also here I can just wait for a little while longer. The wizard in your group cast Firebolt at the goblin. That was in line with a goblin player, goblin line. Crit the player in the face behind it. Oh, that's a less than ideal face. Alright. Yeah, I figured this is not enough. Not enough for everything anyways. Can I get this? Not yet. I will need to actually do a little bit more grinding. Curiously enough. So, the most important part here is actually buying the power wrist. And the reason why that's the most important part is because the power wrist gives me +5 strength. Effectively, the boy will deal 5 more damage. At least that's kind of how the numbers currently shape up. Also a bit more defense, but until I have a headgear piece, any headgear piece, even if just one defense, the damage I take is actually decently high. Oh no. You all died laughing. I feel like that's kind of literal, isn't it? Either way, by story, we are required to level up the sword to level 2. Which for a 100% run is actually kind of a bad thing. I would prefer keeping the sword at level 1, because this would make it easier to level up weapons. Either way, welcome to Tropicala. If you hold down the B button at the beginning of battle, which is something that you just tend to naturally do, you actually somehow spawn the second vine off to the right side. Like literally off screen, out of bounds and stuff. It's kind of... ooh, that might be bad. It's kind of interesting. Alright, I'm going to heal here. I'm gonna get hit, but that's fine. Or I'm most likely gonna get hit. Oh, I didn't. Surprise. Thank you for the 10 bits. I do appreciate those. Wow. Not getting lucky with these. Alright, there we go. A bit of a shaky beginning, but we're getting somewhere. It's a lot of strange things about this game, yeah. So, here's the thing. The glitchless category for this, even though we are aware, technically holding down the B button while charging in the Tropicala fight kind of moves the second vine off screen. For a long time we didn't even know as to why that happens to begin with. I think you can also hold select or L in order to move the vine off screen. For some reason it reads your button inputs in order to determine its placement, and I have no idea why. Also we need a sprite name. So, because we're going to go for 2022, we're just going to go for two. No, here's the thing, the reason why this is not 0 is because in the order of characters at the bottom, the lady is actually second. Even though that's the character I pick up second. So the lady is actually gonna be the 0. Alrighty, I do technically have enough money for what, but we will have to do a short grind here coming up. But now that we have the sprite, it's actually gonna be slightly more efficient anyways. Oh! That's right! I have 20 and then 2. So there would be an additional 0 in the middle. So the boy should have been 2, and then the sprite's 2. Oh no, how are we gonna solve that one? Either way, sprite is going to get a useful weapon, and I have to actually briefly go back, but before we do this, just in case I mess up too much, we're gonna save. Can't actually sleep because we don't have... well, actually I can, but no reason to. We're living 20,000 years in the future. Yeah, I didn't think that one through. As a kid, you loved the game's broken mechanics. Yeah, I actually can agree with this. So, now the cactus switching begins. Come on, right. And also trying to lead the cactus through the areas begins too. So I need a bit more money. This is not something I intended to necessarily do in any capacity. But, because I have to level up the character's points at some point anyways, this also gives me an opportunity to do this here. So basically the short version is I need to grind more money in this area here in particular. But this also gives me a bit of a better buffer to work through the other enemies. So it's not all bad. Just don't get the girl. I mean, we could make her disappear in the end. 20 new, 2 tours. You love the music in this? Yeah, it's great. I really like the music as well. Alright, 20's weapon level is now 2. And I'm actually going to switch the weapons here. The sprite now can start leveling up the sword, because already starting to level up weapons is useful. Also, the sprite now dealing enough damage to knock these guys down actually is very helpful too. Should have called them 2-0 and 2-2. Like the second... that's also pretty clever. Girl equals 100. 20-100? I guess that kinda works. We could also name the lady Null. Because that's basically nothing, right? Because there's nothing in between the 20 and the 2-2. Oh, 100 is 7 letters, right. You'd have to... Alright. We have our stuff. Let's go and buy things real quick. You can name her End. That's actually... I think I like that solution the best so far. Naming her End. Nah, I'd rather not go there, BSBN. Lady as Honda. 20 Honda 2-2. Alright. Helmet. Helmet. And we need to resupply these. Oh, that's actually convenient because I actually grinded up a little bit more than necessary, all things considered. Can I... Yes, we can. Alright. This will hopefully allow the lady to stay alive too. Alright, so the reason why it's so important to have something equipped in every item or equipment slot is because this allows the game to do its calculations properly. Well, that's not entirely true, that's just kind of a quirk of how the game tries to calculate things, so to speak. The short version is that there's a certain stat called evasion, and effectively one equipment piece adds 1/3 evasion, up to 100 if you will. And evasion doesn't mean what you think it means, because it's poorly named. What it does in short is, it gives us a chance, or a high chance, if we have all 3 equipment pieces equipped, a high chance of not taking the full damage, as in the difference between a high and low damage roll. Normally when I hit enemies, I usually get a high damage roll. But if enemies hit me, they actually usually get a low damage roll if I have something equipped in every equipment slot. But it is still possible for them to get a high item or a high damage roll on me if I do not have all 3 equipment slots well equipped. So that's kind of the short version there. Good morning and welcome. So I hope I can afford... there we go. The headband. This is also the reason as to why even buying the cheapest available equipment pieces for the lady is actually quite valuable here. Because this allows her to take significantly less damage. Right, are we going with Ant? Well, I guess I have to defeat the wolves first here. Now this is gonna be super awkward. Yeah, the strider's gonna die unless I heal you here. Okay, as long as I time it right, I should... oh, I didn't time it right. Then again, it's a 50-50 chance whether I get a stab or a swing. And they have a slightly different delay. Chest? No chest. I love opening that chest. Alright, hello. Okay, so because I kinda messed up with the naming scheme, we're going with 20 and 2-2. So literally we're just gonna call her, and she is the connection between the numbers. And the joint! Sweet. Alrighty, now she is in our team. She has currently only a baseline armor equipped, and now she has 1 equipment piece in everything equipped. Even though she actually has baseline more strength than the sprite, she currently technically has less. Because the sprite actually has a power wrist equipped, which does give us additional 5 strength. Which, by the way, 5 strength on the sprite is a lot, to say the least. Poor chest was skipped. Most of the chests are not useful. Like initially the goblin chest would have been useful. The one that I picked up initially, that was a trap. Oh, you actually hit me there. Rude. Either way, the initial goblin chest would have been useful, but unfortunately ended up, well, not being. Because it normally contains a bunch of money, and just enough money to make a difference that I have to kill 2 or 3 less goblins. I think it's actually 3 less goblins that I have to kill for the money purposes. Also, normally, even in glitchless, you don't actually kill this many enemies along the way. I'm literally just doing this because we're already beginning to grind up weapons. Because we need the experience. Also, we want to have a little bit more money to make sure that Spiky Tiger goes well. Spiky Tiger is unironically a genuinely difficult boss to try and defeat. So I do kind of want to make sure we can do this without too much trouble. Happy New Year, Rump! Yuck! 2DTA, thank you! Thank you so much for 1000 bit donation, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Alright, need to somehow get past this mushroom. By the way, it's really important who kills the enemies on a technicality, because the person who kills the enemy gets the full weapon experience, and the other allies get half of that weapon experience back afterwards. And that's actually quite interesting, all things considered. Because this gives you a bit of a dilemma on how do you level up weapons in the late game. Because initially, you gain weapon experience like the way you expect. You just kill an enemy, you get weapon experience. But at some point, we actually run into a problem with weapon experience. Also, I'm stepping on the switch here twice, because the second time the party gathers and gets everybody past the eye. Alright, here's also where we go boomerang, because this allows me to try and hit these guys from afar. Oh, that's not good. The boy actually getting hit is fine-ish, because he has the highest defense of all the characters. I don't actually mean to defeat them. Either way, leveling up a weapon from 8.00 to 8.99, you both need to have the final weapon orb of that given weapon, but also, and that's kind of where the catch comes in, you need to hit or kill an enemy that gives you experience on that weapon. And the reason why that's kind of a big problem, at times at least, is because it should be enough. The highest enemy level is 70. And by the time you have gathered all weapon orbs from the Mana Fortress, you're way beyond level 70, unless you get ridiculously lucky or you save and reset all the time in order to not get too much experience. So, you actually have to pull some trickery in order to level up weapons up to 8.99. And this is why I'm never going to, well, I'm not going to level up the sword beyond level 2 anytime soon, because the sword is the only weapon that I don't have to worry about getting up to level 8.99. 8.00 is the regular maximum, let's put it this way. That's not good, I'm kind of hoping, yeah, there we go, level up. So 8.99 on every other weapon is a concern, but the sword, worst case scenario, which we will actually encounter the worst case scenario, it's sufficient, so to speak, if we go and just level up the sword to 8.00 with everybody. And so we never run into the trouble that we can't possibly reach those numbers anymore. We do in fact run into the trouble that we might not be able to reach those numbers with the other characters, or with the other weapons. So that's why we leave the spear at level 1 and the sword at level 2. The sword is in order to top off the spear specifically, in terms of weapon experience, but the spear itself is used in order to share weapon experience from the spear to the other weapons when we are too high of a level to get normal weapon experience from enemies. Because the spear at level 1 gives 4 weapon experience for a character if he kills a lower level enemy, and half of that is shared to the weapon experience of the allies. So that means I need to only kill 50 enemies to level up a secondary weapon from 8.99, from 8.00 to 8.99. Also, I want to stand in here, so the boy actually gets hit. So technically, what I actually want to have happen is the sprite getting eaten here. This is what I want. So, Spiky Tiger is really, really dangerous, like genuinely dangerous. So what I actually want is, I want the sprite to tank, or the lady to tank, in order for the boy to be able to continuously hit. And this is by far the least dangerous pattern that we can encounter with Spiky Tiger. He occasionally does jump up to the side here. And I'm sorry, the lady just was damaged because I can't reasonably keep all the characters alive. The sprite is going to get hit here, that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. So I have to get the boy eaten here because the sprite won't be in time. But the boy by far deals the most physical damage of all the characters. And I need the sprite to be close enough to the tiger's mouth in order to, well, get eaten. Because if there's no character in range to be eaten, Spiky Tiger will go into a really potentially dangerous pattern. Either jump up high and crash down on us, which is ridiculously difficult to avoid, or Spiky Tiger is going to pinball around, and there is no reliable way to avoid not getting hit by the pinball attack, especially not for AI control characters. So the best thing we can do is just defend by having a character tank, so to speak, by being close to the mouth. This is why it's really important to have at least one other character with full equipment. In this case we have both the lady and the sprite that could possibly tank, but I want to specifically keep the sprite alive, because we want to get the sprite to 10 MP, so we can cast Undine 5 times rather than just 4, which is, you start with 8 MP initially, and for that we need a certain amount of levels. And hey Xeno, thank you so much for 6 months with Prime Gaming. Welcome back, and I'm glad you enjoy your stay. So happy to see Secret of Mana again, hope you enjoyed as much as you do. I like Secret of Mana a lot. It's just recently-ish, and I've mentioned that before, I've just been a bit burnt out on this game. I still like it a lot, it's still basically my favorite game ever. But it's also one of these things that I have played so much that at some point I just really didn't feel like it. I'm getting back there now, so... which is also why I feel comfortable doing a 100% run, or trying to do anyways. But here we are. Also, I made a minor mistake here. That minor mistake actually involves... actually, I should give this to the lady. Here. That minor mistake actually involves... I needed to switch out the weapon for the boy. The boy already had the sword at the maximum level, so I should have given him another weapon that he could level up during the boss explosion. Burnout can be a real problem in speedrunning, you suspect? Yeah. Honestly, I would say just kind of in Twitch streaming, gaming in general, it definitely is just a huge thing. I don't know how certain streamers can just stick to one game and one game only, like there's just exclusively Hearthstone streamers and stuff like that. That's just crazy to me. Alrighty, going over here. Now, my glitchless rod actually involves killing some fishy. Because they actually give pretty good experience here. And the problem about trying to defeat the fishy is they are actually kinda dangerous. Like, if you just let them do their thing, this is actually a pretty significant risk. So, the sprite has 92 HP, which means I know the sprite is now at the correct level for me to, or well, for the sprite to have 10 MP maximum. And the reason why that's very useful is because 10 maximum MP means I can cast the spells that cost 2 MP 5 times, rather than with 9 maximum MP, which I can only cast, well, 4 times. And that one point, or well, that one spell casting difference is actually decently large this early in the game. Also, kinda like before, we just give the boy the strongest weapon that we currently have, which happens to be the sword in this case. Because that way we try and defeat this thing as quick as possible. Fun fact, the first phase of this thing is way more dangerous than the second phase. Not usually dangerous to begin with, but more dangerous. Crow actually figured out a decent way to just stack damage onto it reasonably efficiently, but it's kind of difficult to execute. And I'm just, well, preparing for the long run, I suppose you could say. Alrighty, here we are. Welcome to phase 2. Oh my goodness. Xeno, thank you. Thank you so much for the $28.37 donation. That's crazy. And Xeno says, a little appreciation for the great time everyone can spend here with you. Thanks for everything with a smiley face. Thank you. I really appreciate it. This boss is so easy in the remake. Yeah, in the remake you actually can push him into the corner and he's never going to heal. You cannot do this in this version. He's going to heal regardless. But the actually, generally speaking, the same AI pattern otherwise applies. But yeah, the only way this poor little guy can ever attack me is by me standing orthogonally adjacent to it, like straight up, straight down, straight left, straight right. And since I'm slightly diagonal, the thing cannot attack me. And its only other AI script is, while it cannot attack me, is get close enough until you are about this distance. And then it doesn't know what to do. And then it can heal itself 3 times. This abuse, yeah. And yes, Gigas has 6 MP. Secret of Mana is a jank game and all, but the remake feels even more off. Yeah. Yeah. I really like the music in the remake. And Nico's voice is great. Alrighty, welcome to Undine. Hello and welcome. Oh. Lit for the biting lizard. Alrighty. Now, we acquired a pole dart. I was actually kind of torn between using the pole dart as my level 1 weapon or the spear. I decided on the spear because I know the pole dart is very useful for grinding in the Pure Lands. Alright, so here is... Well, once again, I forgot to change weapon with the boy on boss kill, but oh well, mind the details. So, this is where you can see I can now cast Freeze up to 5 times, thanks to having enough MP, and this is very, very helpful. Poor fishy is already done. This is very helpful because now the screen here is significantly less dangerous. And I can still get some experience out of it. Also, by the way, I'm casting actually slightly early. I should have casted later, that way I could chain in physical attacks into the magic spells. These fish actually resist Undine, they only take effectively half damage. Not quite how it works, but close enough. They effectively take only half damage. And... Whip is level 2, switch over here for you. And I still cast Undine there, because it does not matter how much damage you do. The only thing that matters for leveling up spells is that you effectively cast a spell so many times. In order to level up a spell from level 0 to level 1, which is a huge jump in power by the way, we need to cast a grand total of 25 spells, if that's not right. 25 is 4. No. 10, 11, 12 spells. Jeez. Is it better to use HP drain so you can level faster? Oh yeah, that's what I'm meaning. It doesn't matter which... So basically, the MP cost of the spell is almost exclusively detrimental, if you will. So I'm just casting the spell here 10 times total after acquiring from Undine, which means we need 2 more spell casts with the sprite here in order to level it up further. And because this is a 100% run, I should have actually already started casting spells with the lady as well. That way we would level up her spells soon as well. But, oh well. Nice job. And Veiled Fury, almost Happy New Year! Thank you so much for 16 months of support, welcome back! And I'm glad you enjoy your stay, I hope you're doing well. Also, I made a mistake. I needed to buy a fairy walnut. I don't need it for the fire gigas, but I will need it... Actually no, I don't need it for the wall either. I will need it for Kilroy though. That's fine. Hopefully you get lucky drops again this time. Well, we'll see. Because last year was ridiculously lucky. And I like Grayson, thank you. Thank you so much for 23 months of support. Happy last day of 2021. Thank you. Welcome back to you. And I'm glad you enjoy your stay. I hope you're doing well. So, in the remake, when you level up, you actually refill your MP. In the original, you do not. So we actually have to sleep here in order to level up, in order to recover our MP. Save game, sure. Also, I just realized a slight routing error here. I should have opened up this part here. Oh well, we're just gonna do the classic, where we're gonna open up this, use the next 4 spells in order to farm some goblins. There we go. We're gonna wait briefly. There we go, until they split up, then we run away. Kind of. Now, what I wanna do... I want to wait very slightly before I attack again. This way I should guarantee being able to get some weapon levels in. So if you kill an enemy with the last hit being magic, you do not get any weapon experience on your characters. But at the very tail end of spell animations, you can usually fit in a physical attack that adds to the damage, and then that does count for your, well, weapon experience in the end. You've been wondering, would you consider doing a 100% run of the remake at some point? Honestly, probably not. Like, if you don't have any nostalgia for the original, the remake is perfectly suitable. But to me, the remake is one of these things where just all the little things just kind of unfortunately get to me. Like the menu literally just scrolling in and... Basically, if I open up the menu and I push left, this is the direction the thing scrolls in. I push right, this is the direction it scrolls in. It's backwards in the original, in the remake. And that's just one of these little things that really bugs me. Like, I'm not saying it's a wrong design decision to make it scroll the other way around. It's just, I'm so used to this one that my muscle memory just makes it really weirdly irritating to play that way. No, this is not a remake, this is the original for the Super Nintendo here. The remake is a different game entirely. And let's see real quick. And yes, this is identical to the original Super Nintendo version. The one difference you will see here is when the screen is supposed to flash, it doesn't flash as much. This is on the Super Nintendo Mini, but aside from literally the emulation difference, if you will, because effectively the Super Nintendo Mini is kind of like a mini emulator for Super Nintendo games that was officially released by Nintendo. Here, you can see, normally the screen would immediately flash super white and be very obnoxious to the eyes. This is the reason why I play this version, but literally everything else is the exact same in this version. So, we now have the Fire Gigas, and with 5 level 1 spellcasts, we should easily be able to defeat this guy in just one volley of spells. He is weak to ice, and level 1 of that specific spell, Freeze, is enough to effectively deal max damage with 5 spellcasts. Generally speaking, 2 level 0 spellcasts plus 3 level 1 spellcasts is sufficient in order to accomplish this, most of the time, not all the time. It's a bit of damage variance. But yeah. Hey Wells, and welcome to you as well. Also, welcome to everybody. This is tricky. Oh, I just remembered I need to wave probably a little bit more. But yeah. What else is there to say? Oh, maybe one thing here. I always find this to be interesting. Sealing the mana seed here allows us to level up spells up to level 2 now. Previously, the maximum level was level 1, so all the spellcasts, technically, that were at level 1 for Undine were kinda lost in terms of efficiency. But now we can level it up to, well, level 2. Now casting spells will help, but that's not the only function of sealing the seeds here. There's actually a slight additional trait to this that is kind of hidden. All my stats are now slightly boosted. I have slightly more attack power, slightly more defense, slightly... Actually, that's pretty much it. Slightly more attack power and defense is the main differences here. Also sleep again in order to recover MP, because fairy walnuts are super expensive. Isn't your Suicune collection? Nice. Yeah, at some point I was considering getting a backup copy of Secret of Mana for the Super Nintendo. And then I looked at the prices and I was like, I can't afford that one. Not anymore. When I bought my original NTSC copy in order to speedrun. Also, no, actually I need the money. I can't upgrade right now. I just now realized I actually need the money. I can't do that. I wanted to upgrade a weapon in order to start leveling them up further, but glitchless speedruns are pretty tight in terms of money routing until I deviate pretty heavily in the Fire Temple. That's when I get a lot more money. But until then, yeah. Oh, I forgot. I made a mistake here again. I needed to start leveling up gnomes. I needed to cast spells with the sprite here. So, gnome actually has a spell that is called Slowdown, which is supposed to slow down an enemy. It doesn't work on bosses the traditional way, but it does have an interesting effect of locking them into an animation. But that's besides the point. Either way, the Slowdown spell only costs 1 MP. And because it only costs 1 MP, it is the most efficient one to level up your spells with. So here I wanna cast Slowdown, and in the meantime just gonna start leveling up the Lady's Weapon as well. I mainly focus on the sprite for leveling, but this is something I'll have to do with the Lady as well at some point. So I can just try to fit in additional spellcasts here and there, while it effectively doesn't lose any time. Also, I'm using the partner menu here in order to open up the sprites menu, because this allows me to open up the menu slightly earlier than it otherwise would, which is also why you keep seeing me switch through the characters here rather than anything else. So this is 10 spell casts of Gnome. I need 2 more in order to level up Gnome from level 1, from level 0 to level 1. And I think it was technically enough. Oh my goodness, it's been too long since I did a glitchless run. I don't remember whether 2 level 0 spellcasts is enough and then 3. I'm just gonna play it safe. We have to level up the spells at some point anyways. So, just gonna do the same thing here again. Let's level up spells. At worst, this is slightly inefficient. Slightly early. One more. And if I were good at multitasking, I could also simultaneously try to get experience from knocking down that beast. Alrighty, so that is 20 spellcasts right here with Gnome. Which means from level 2 to 3 I need 13 spellcasts. So 12 plus 13 is 25, so we need 5 more spellcasts total in order to level up from level 1 to level 2 with Gnome, and coincidentally we have exactly 5 spellcasts with Gem Missile to use on the next boss who is weak to Earth magic. And that does indeed help us, since it is exactly enough in order to level up Gnome to level 2, and usually the damage is enough in order to defeat the boss in that volley of attacks. Very rarely it's not quite enough damage, but that's why I saved it just now. There was a complete listing that was better than just the poster. Interesting. Come on. So when does Kimari come in the Nova everything for max damage? Well, probably in about 7 days from now or something like that. Either way, welcome to... Oh, this might not work. Let's see. Okay, that worked. So, normally my setups for running through areas are very specific to... Oh, fireball? Really? Ah, slightly too slow. My setups are very specific to be able to run past enemies. And that one in particular requires my AI control characters to usually have specific weapons, so I wasn't sure whether they would be able to hit the sword with their chosen weapon right there, but turns out it was perfectly fine. Uh-oh, that's not good. Should be mostly fine. Let's keep going, guys. Please keep going. You can see I'm not nearly as practiced anymore as I used to be. But hey, we're still getting through. Plus, the big portion of this run is going to be at the end anyways. And Draco Dyers, thank you. Thank you so much for subscribing with Prime Gaming. Welcome to you, and I'm glad you enjoy your stay. Alrighty. First hour of the run complete. Only minor hiccup, actually. Dying twice is kind of a decently large hiccup, but oh well. It'll be fine. Alrighty, welcome to Boreal Face. If you ever tried to defeat this boss without using magic, you know that this boss is really difficult to hit for some weird reason. And you know why? Well, because this is the first boss who has evasion. Like boss or enemy type evasion, which means you have about a 40% chance to straight up miss, and the game does not give you any feedback about you missing whatsoever. Which is a bit annoying, to say the least, because most people just think, oh, these hitboxes of this game are terrible. Which, sure, they are terrible too, but not for the reason you think of. Yeah, it's just the wall phase. Because 40% of the time, you attack the wall, you clearly hit it with your weapon swing, and it just doesn't do anything. It doesn't give you any sound feedback, nothing, you just miss. Just smash it in the eye with the charge sword, that definitely works too. Like, you can defeat the wall phase without magic. It's reasonably doable. It's just, it can be weirdly irritating if you don't know about the evasion part of the deal. And yes, magic is crazy powerful. So effectively, the boss is weak to magic, and you might be wondering, okay, Earthlight is a stronger spell than Gem Missile, but because it effectively costs 3 MP rather than 2, Gem Missile only costs 2, Earthlight costs 3, it effectively is more efficient for me to cast Gem Missiles 5 times rather than Earthlight twice and Gem Missile twice in terms of raw damage output. And since we are kind of tight on budget for how much damage we deal to begin with, it is better to just do 5 spell casts with Gem Missiles instead. Plus, in this very particular run, this also helps me reach the next level of the spell slightly more efficiently. Speaking of reaching next level of the spell, the sprite is not quite high enough level to reach the next threshold of MP, but here we go. We need to start leveling up Undine towards level 2. So we cast 5 freeze attacks here, and what would have been slightly more efficient is if I actually used 1 freeze attack and 2 gnomes in each of the previous leveling sessions. Because I only need gnome level 2. Level 1. I did not technically need level 2 yet, so I could actually fit in 2 level 1 slowdown spellcasts in there in order to finish up the gnome spellcasting. But that's just details, I guess. Either way, here we go, and we're gonna buy 2 very overpriced berry walnuts. But you don't know these are overpriced because Necro is the only guy that sells it to you, so you buy them anyways. Either way, they cost 1000 gold each. This is why I basically don't buy any additional equipment in any capacity, not even Cups of Wishes in order to revive characters, which is one of the biggest hurdles, I would say, if you wanna speedrun this game and you decide to play the glitchless category. You don't have any safety for a long time, like you don't get Cups of Wishes. So if a character dies, and if it's the wrong character, you reset. Actually kinda really tricky, to say the least. So sleeping here in order to recover MP again. So this is 5 spellcasts from level 1 towards level 2. This is gonna be 5 more, so this is gonna be a grand total of 10 spellcasts, so we need 3 more in order to level up Undine from level 1 to level 2. And the plan is to do this during the Kilroy boss fight, which should just barely not quite kill him, but we need only like 1 or 2 more physical attacks in order to bridge the gap for the damage. How do you keep your levels low enough to not get levels too high for leveling weapons in the Mana Fortress? I don't, actually. So, in the very first 100% run, I had to actually worry about that. So what I did is, I actually killed off the boy. And I just left him at level 1 until I had all the orbs and everything farmed in the Mana Fortress. Which is the main reason why that took like 10 hours more than the actual glitchless run. So in this run here, because I don't need to worry about leveling up the sword to 8.99, it is fine for me to keep it at 8.00. Because it literally can't go beyond that one until we, well, defeat the second to last boss, where it's a point of no return. So I keep the level of the sword at 2, which means I can share weapon experience of killing lower level enemies with the sword, 1 to be specific. And additionally, I'm also keeping the spear at level 1. Which allows me to share 2 weapon experience to any weapon above 8.00. So that's the main idea of how I'm doing this. I don't think I need to pick up the whip orb, technically. But there's no harm in doing this either, because this is slightly less dangerous than the later one. Does this include getting level 9 orbs? Yes, all the weapon orbs. So level 9 weapons allow you to, unfortunately, not reach level 9 in charge attacks, but level 8.99 on the weapons is on the menu, except for the sword, because, as mentioned, you literally can't do that unless you use glitches. So effectively for weapon leveling, this is actually kind of a tricky conundrum, to say the least. Wait a little bit so I can hopefully chain in a physical attack here. Ah, messed up. I was slightly too slow. There is the level up to level 2. And now the sprite needs Fairy Walnut in order to recover MP. And that's where we continue casting spells. So as you can see, this guy has like 900 HP. This is not gonna be enough with just the spell casts. So I will have to jump my sword to level 2 and hope that we hit in time. There we go. Was actually almost enough. It's really close usually. By the way, if you'd like to, there is actually a math problem associated with how do you most efficiently level up weapons. Like, I've just always been winging it in 100% runs, but if somebody would like to, you can figure out a rule of thumb for me to use. Like, when is it most efficient? So baseline assumption, the enemies aren't going to be too low of a level in order for us to level up the spells, level up the weapons with higher level enemies. Because by the time we get the final weapon orb, even if you're really lucky, you will be over level 70. That's just how it is going to be. Now, but how do I equip a weapon and then optimally distribute experience to secondary characters in order for them to optimally get the weapon experience instead of them hitting the enemy and suboptimally distributing weapon experience among the others? Not 17, 70. 70. 70 is because the Terminators are the highest level enemies in the entire game. And what this means is that there is no enemy that is a higher level than the Terminators. And so, if you kill an enemy that is lower level than you, you only get half the weapon experience. If you kill an enemy that is higher level or equal level, you get full weapon experience. So right now with the flower here is lower level than me, so the boy just now got 9 divided by half, rounded down, 4, which is 4 weapon experience for killing that flower. I'm gonna save over there. Actually, did I save at the... Did I save in the Dwarven village? I didn't actually pay attention. Either way, basically, half of the weapon experience the character receives is shared with the allies, and the character only receives half of the weapon experience if they kill an enemy that is below their character level. So there's probably some way of efficiently distributing well, experience, because if you level up a weapon from level 0 to level 1, as long as the weapon level is below level 2, you gain 8 weapon experience at least, which means half of that because the enemy is too low of a level, and then half of that because you gave basically half of the weapon experience to your allies. Casting weapon buffs is part of solving the equation. I'm not sure I understand. Not sure, Yaga, you've been fighting a romper eater for the last hour. Oh no. Well, I hope it's tasty. And also, I just realized. Infinitum, thank you. Oh, unlucky. Thank you so much, Infinitum, for the $10 donation. I really appreciate that. And Infinitum says, you stumble across your stream every few months for the past few years. Now and always enjoy your content and engagement with chat. Since I'm not a fan of the Twitch subscriptions or bits, take this appreciation instead to keep the rabbit warm and fed. Rump. Oh, thank you so much, Infinitum. I appreciate it. I understand the sentiment too. But yeah, thank you so much. Either way, welcome to the Jabberwocky. The reason why we don't use Undine spells is because this guy resists Undine, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would in fact use Undine spells here. Gem Missile actually has lower base damage than the freeze spell, but it is still more efficient than using Earth Slide. But yeah, this guy just resists. Trying to chain in physical damage. Okay, this is fine. This guy has less than 1000 maximum HP, so doing over 500 at the first volley basically guarantees that the second volley will kill him here. Oh, sorry, you meant for balancing level advancement with weapon magic advancement. The thing is, weapons enchantments are actually, generally speaking, inefficient in terms of MP use, so I should probably just cast other buffs, but that is a fair point in fact. What I should do is, whenever I have an opportunity, I should be casting spells with the lady in order to level up her weapon. Technically that is not necessarily the most efficient thing I can do, however, because it will be more efficient later when I can cast spells quicker thanks to the Midge Mallet. But MP wise, she also doesn't have that much maximum MP. By the way, talking to Luca here gives us our HP or MP back here. Can we ban magic on bosses? You can absolutely ban magic on bosses if you'd like to. I have done solo cactus challenge run with the sprite, not using any magic whatsoever. That was a long one, but it's definitely doable. Can do the entire thing without using magic. Glitchless, by the way. But yeah, spells are just really powerful. Spells almost feel like cheating. But because this is gonna go long enough anyways, I'm not really going to put that stipulation on there. Let's go to the upper land. That was the first memo your mind gave you. I appreciate that, Organic Artist. Basically, my main question about weapon leveling is, assuming there's no more enemies that are high enough level to give you full weapon experience, you always receive half of what you currently receive, rounded down, if you are the one killing the enemy, and the other two allies receive half of that, rounded down. So if you only receive 3 or less weapon experience on the main killing character, half of that is shared with your allies. But as soon as you only gain 1 weapon experience, nothing is shared with your allies, meaning it's kind of starting to become really inefficient at that point. Weapons get... So the way weapon leveling works is, if you have a weapon that is level 0, you get 9 weapon experience baseline. And then each subsequent level, the baseline weapon experience you receive is 1 less than that. So level 1 is 8 experience. Hey look! Chest. I shouldn't open this. Yep. Oh, the lady's already cosplaying for the Muggles. This is great. So the shared weapon experience is really good for high-level weapons, yes. Basically, the baseline is you want to use a low-level weapon to share weapon experience with higher characters, or higher-level characters. I forgot to... split, so I'm gonna skip this split here. Split, forgot this crab rock. Hello and welcome, series. Tyrise, feel free to correct me on how to pronounce your name. This game, yes please. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually make a quick detour. And that detour involves me getting the Midge Mallet from the Dwarven village. I did not mean to kill these guys, but I will if you don't let me through. Minimum 0? Yes. You can get 0 weapon experience if you are too high level or you don't share any. So it's never a minimum of 1. Let's see, can you show off the switch weapon glitch during the run though? You think a lot of people would appreciate a bit of knowledge. I mean, this is glitchless. There's 2 ways of doing this. Also, I don't have a second controller in there, so I would only be able to show off the AI version. But maybe later, if you remind me. We can probably use a bit of... well... intermission during the grinds later. Might need to use Wolfram Alpha to calculate. I actually don't know Wolfram Alpha, but I really like spreadsheets. But at the same time, I wouldn't know really how to set up a calculation like that. Alright, we just have received the Midge Mallet. The Midge Mallet is incredibly useful because it allows us to mini a character. Why would we want to mini a character? A mini character loses all physical defense, which means they take a ton of physical defense subsequently, but they can actually cast spells significantly faster than before. So you can chain in the spells quicker, because they don't have as long of a spellcasting animation. Plus, on top of that, the Midge Mallet is very useful in order to deny damage. Seeker of Mana will basically start the spell or damage animation on a character, but if you interrupt it before it applies the damage, you actually completely skip the damage entirely. So an enemy casts, I don't know, Thunder or Freeze on my characters, I can just use a Midge Mallet. It cancels the damage because the game is immediately discarding the previous event. You would love playing with Wolfram Alpha? Okay, interesting. If you're a math nerd like me, you'll find it a great toy. I'm actually not sure that I'm a math nerd. I just like using and applying mathematics. Like, I like statistics, if that makes sense, because statistics allow me to figure out what is more or less likely in order to, well, try and optimize luck-based approach type of deal. But this is more deterministic, and I'm actually not, like, I don't have the background education in order to necessarily even know how to approach it. Could be interesting though. it's not great for statistics. I mean, I don't know whether this is statistics. Like, it is deterministic, right? Technically, there is an optimal distribution on how to level up characters' weapons in order to distribute the optimal amount of weapon experience to allies. Probably. Also, by the way, fun fact, just kind of pointing this out, the place we land here, this is the version where the Mughals previously were, as a the version of the map. Because there's no enemies here, our weapons are not drawn, I can't swing my weapon, but you can only get back here if you use the cannon in order to get here. If I go the normal way, now there's enemies here. So that's kind of a weird quirk of how the map system works. Effectively, the map where the Mughals used to be is empty, so they did think about removing the Mughals from there. But simultaneously, they are still... Did I sleep? Ah, shoot, I forgot to sleep. No. That's gonna be a little bit of a grinding session early that I didn't mean to do. I need to sleep in the village earlier. Let me through, please. I needed to sleep in the village earlier because I did not want to spend 1,000 gold here for recovering the sprite's MP. But here we are. Yaga not sleeping before the stream. No, I did sleep in real life. I just didn't sleep in the game here. The boy got confused. By the way, these owls love attacking the character that is confused with vicious demeanor. Wait. Oh, it didn't open. I forgot about this part. How could you not do that? Alright, so I actually needed to go back to the left and then over to the right. Because it got reset. Since I wanted to walk backwards earlier. So I need to do an entire second cycle. Oh, that's not good. Need to hit that guy. Don't hit the boy. It's gonna be awkward. Can't do that, I need my MP. Well, that's not entirely true, I could spend some MP. Rip lady. I don't need the sprite for the upcoming boss, so I guess this is okay. But these owls are a real menace. There we go, now it opened. Boy is facing the wrong way because he's confused, meaning his controls are inverted. Come on. There we go. Yeah. Acceptable sacrifices, maybe. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna play it safe here. Generally speaking, 3 Earth Slice level 2 are actually sufficient in order to kill this guy, most of the time. But I'm just gonna go for 5 gem missiles, which is more than enough to kill this guy, like, almost twice. Because he's weak to Earth, he has actually less HP than the previous 2 bosses. And here we are. Does confusion status inconvenience enemies / AI characters at all? They just move in the other direction. AI characters still follow you the normal way, but if they engage an enemy, they will basically face the wrong direction after being confused. And enemies just straight up walk the other way. Is kind of how it ends up working out. Also, the sprite is now exactly at the level where they have 12 MP, and that's really nice. Since 12 MP allows us to cast spells slightly more efficiently, slightly more quickly, and this is actually good because As I mentioned before, I just bought an additional fairy walnut for 1000 gold, so we will be doing just a little bit of leveling along the way here. Yeah, characters faced the wrong way, if you recall correctly. Yeah, you might have seen it earlier. The boy actually shot his javelin in the wrong way. Alright, we also do want to not forget to save, to do this, because this allows us to now level up this, level up the thing to the spells to level 3. Which, by the way, the game never checks whether you sealed the mana seed of the wind, it just assumes you did. So you can totally forget about it, even in the glitchless run, and not notice until the spells somehow don't level up, and it makes it really awkward. So, I'm gonna wait here. Now, we have a new set of spells. Oh yeah, that's right, these are projectile-based. The projectile-based spells are a lot more annoying to try and level and cast, because the projectiles have to arrive before I can recast the next one. Too early. I'm so used to this. 6 MP remain. I do actually want to kill these enemies too. Alright, axe resource level 1, which means we wanna switch over to the next set of weapons. I'm not gonna worry about level inside the other weapons. So I have one more spell cast, which we need in order to open up this door here. It's faster to scroll down in the menu. My muscle memory tells me to scroll up in order to go through there, but that's just muscle memory. It's fine. And yes, by the way, the Wind Temple is where we will be going a few times during this run in order to level up spells. Because it's not just free MP refills, there's actually an additional quirk to leveling up spells that you may not be aware of. Leveling up spells, you gain full spell experience if you are in a combat area. A combat area is where you have your weapons drawn and you can swing them. For example, here in town, this is not a combat area, which means you only get half the spell experience. This doesn't matter for the sprite because you can't really cast any spells anyways with the sprite in a town because you need to target. But with the lady, this actually makes quite a significant difference. Alright, we're gonna buy actually only 2 fairy walnuts. And we get a little bit more recovery items here. You know, I should buy a couple of wishes just for safety. This is the first time in a glitchless run where you may have a little bit of money left over to buy a couple of wishes or 2. And yes, you also will finally get reasonably priced fairy walnuts. I'm kind of hoping to get a fairy walnut drop from the crabs, because their common drop is a fairy walnut. Also, this is a javelin that I shouldn't forget. So chat, every time there is the pickup orb in the splits in the bottom left of the stream, please do yell at me that I should pick them up, because if I don't, we're going to have to farm an additional orb in the Mana Fortress, and the probability of getting the rare drops for these is not terribly high. It's you, Yaga, you're gonna get the rare drop if you get a drop. Oh, that's not useful. Oh, that reminds me. I think in the previous run, we actually got the rare drop from the Whimpers 3 times in a row, when I just wanted the common drop in order to fill up the inventory. It was kind of funny. Hopefully the final orbs and final equipment takes a little longer than last year. Probably. I don't remember how quick it was, but it was ridiculously lucky in a lot of cases, it feels like. Honestly, the one orb I wish to go faster is the Axe Orb, because the Axe Orb is the most annoying one to grind out. Alright, so to here, we wanna level up Sylph a little bit, but more importantly, in this case, I also want a bit of money. So I also made a sprite here, stand in front of the enemies in order for the projectiles to connect slightly faster. And these crabs here, if they drop us a chest, there's a high chance that we get a fairy walnut in it. As long as we don't get a trap, that is. This would make up for... well, almost make up for the other. Trap. They also give actually a surprising amount of money. Also, the sprite doesn't deal any damage here. Shouldn't attack sprite. Come on back. Also, this is a chest from... Sahagin. They don't... I actually don't even remember what they drop. By the way, we did actually do a rare drop quest playthrough in Secret of Mana, where we tried to get every single rare drop in the game. And the one rare drop, if you try to go for all rare drops, that is almost certainly the most annoying one to try and get, is the one from a Mimic. Because the only way you get a Mimic is either through a trap, which, if you try to go for all the rare drops, you probably are already too high of a level in order to properly get all the traps. Here next time. Your boss level 1 will guaranteed kill these guys, so that's good. I say that, but that guy didn't die. Alright, this should give me a decent amount of money buffer. Unfortunately, no chest drops. I was about to say something and then I interrupted myself and now I forgot what I was saying. Sorry. If you'd like to remind me, feel free to. I'm not good at this. Speaking of coffee, coffee would be nice. You're going to the corner store to get coffee. Anyone want anything? I would take a snack bar. You were talking about Mimic rare drops. Right, thank you. I'm sorry for interrupting my own thought. Mimic rare drops. The problem about Mimics is the only way you get Mimics is by having trapped chests of a specific enemy level range, which is only 50% chance per chest drop to begin with, so 1 in 32 every time you kill an enemy effectively. That is only if you have low enough agility in order to get traps to begin with, which you will be high enough level if you go for all the drops. So the only other option to get Mimics is by having shapeshifters spawn Mimics. You hit the sprite there? Very inconvenient. So here you could see a use of me applying the Midge Mallet right there in order to deny the damage from the Thunderbolt. By the way, Thunderbolt costs 4 MP and it has the same base damage value as Freeze, which only costs 2 MP. So if you're trying to cast spells, the most efficient spell to cast for damage purposes, if the enemy is not resistant to it, is Freeze by a good amount. The only other spell that has equivalent economic value is actually Shade's Hades grenades, or whatever they are called. The 2 MP spell from Shade. That one is actually really good too. Oh my goodness, we have 2 cactus silenced. You almost never get that, because they always go for the silence one to begin with. I think the lady might die. I'm actually gonna just do a little safety thing here. Heal up everybody. And we need to use Quack. But yeah. Did I interrupt the mimic thought again? But yeah, for reference, a chest drop from an enemy is a 1 in 16 chance. To get the rare drop, you have a 10 in... A 10 in 64? I actually forget what the probability is for that. Either way, welcome to this guy. He's weak to Undini, Sylph. The biggest problem about this is that Sylph is just not efficient. Also, the sprite is gonna get hit by spell right here, which means I need to pick me you again. I'm pretty sure this actually damage shouldn't take hold normally, but it could in this case, because of how I sequenced using Midge Mallet on top of it. Either way, this guy takes a lot of damage from Air Blast, and the reason why I actually leveled, or well, spent my time leveling up Sylph was I was kind of hoping that the sprite would be able to deal enough damage to kill this guy. But it has over 1000 HP, so let's see whether I can just finish it off. No, I think it's too much. I didn't. The sprite is probably dead here, aren't you? Nope, the lady's dead. Wait, the sprite didn't get hit. I'm going to invest a fairy walnut anyways. It's fine. Should do the trick. So, one thing, even though Thunderbolt is super expensive, you can change spell casts. As opposed to, well, the other ability, but you cannot... Oh shoot, you're not dead yet. Okay, I'm gonna revive the body for safety. I completely forgot that you need at least one fairy walnut no matter what. Okay, he was even playing along here. You're dead now, aren't you? Yeah. Okay. It's fine. It's not great, but it worked, I guess. Burst was the 4 MP spell. Burst was... Yes, I think Burst was 4 MP. The only spell actually that is technically worth it for the MP cost, because Burst is the only spell that has more of a baseline magic power than any other spells. Every element, except for Dryad, has one offensive spell that has a baseline power equivalent to Freeze. So for Undini, the Freeze is the strongest spell. I think 92 baseline attack power, whatever that means. Gnome has Earthslide, which is 3 MP. Salamando has Explode, which is 4 MP. Sylph has Thunderbolt, which is 4 MP. What else? Dark Force, yes, that one, is from Shade, which is 2 MP. Lumina has the laser beams, whatever they are called, which is 8 MP. So the lady actually gets a decent offensive spell, but it's way too expensive to even use. Lucent beam, there we go, thank you. Yeah, by the way, fun fact, there's a way to go here. Probably intended. Since this is a 100% run, I figured I'd show it off. To my knowledge, completely pointless. But it's fun. I don't know how we even figured that out to begin with. But yeah, actually, I guess Luna does not have an offensive spell of equivalent power. Thinking about it. So, I'm actually gonna buy a Wolf's Band here, and that might be kinda weird, initially, until you learn that Wolf's Band gives you 5 agility, and how do we... Oh, I need more money. Can't buy anything more there. How do you... Avoid traps in chests? Well, you have 2 ways to disable traps in chests. One is you need to have high enough agility on the character. If you have reached a certain threshold of agility, compared to the enemy's, well, trap agility value, which is a specific value per each enemy, you completely avoid the trap entirely. That's one. And the other one is if you use Analyzer on a chest until it starts blinking red. You would think that if you use Analyzer on a chest and it tells you you can disarm traps with this, or you can identify traps with this, and the chest is blinking red, you would think, oh, there's a trap in there, I don't want to open it. But no, if the chest blinks red, you disable the trap, there's no more traps in there. It's actually kind of counterintuitive. Alrighty. Warning, warning. So yeah, we get lost in the desert. Fun fact, the reason why you go to the desert first and then you go over to the ice country, even though it seems counterintuitive, since that's one extra step, since you need to complete the ice country first before you can complete the desert, is because you cannot cannon travel directly from the frost country over to the desert until you have gotten lost in the desert. The frost country guy will just tell you that, oh, we don't have enough gunpowder to shoot you over there, which pretty sure the distance to Matango is about the same as to the frost country. Either way, you have to get lost first, and then, because you will have to basically do a quick trip to Matango first, if you go frost country first, it ends actually being very slightly faster to go to the desert directly. It would have been better if they had went blinking red to solid green. Would have been a nice indicator. Exactly, I agree. Actually genuinely forgot where to go through, but I just let muscle memory carry me through the area. Oh, by the way, there's no reason why I'm doing this, but if you hold L and or R and B, oh, this guy is in my way now. If you hold L and R, B and R, or B and L, both of these work, you actually don't change facing direction. So I can run backwards with this. Whee! Just for fun. That's how you moonwalk in this game. You basically hold B and R or B and L in order to not change facing direction. It has a very minor application for practical purposes. It's mostly just for fun. By the way, how's the frame drops looking? A decent amount, to say the least. Less extreme than yesterday though. I hope it's acceptable. Alright, next up we have this guy here, and as long as Andini is high enough level, we should be able to knock this guy out pretty quick. And I forgot to go slightly further down. So you need to be able to see the bottom of this guy in order to be able to target him with spells. Okay, Sprite needs MP. And some more. Theoretically, this should be enough damage right here. It's not. This should be enough damage guaranteed, basically. There we go. You saw many frame drops and it seems better recently. Yeah, I think the rabbit is really hungry. Keeps eating all the frames. Alright. Alright, we don't start with any enemies in here. Oh, no, actually, there it is. Alright. I wanna kill 2 enemies in here. In order to gain slightly more money. That's actually the main concern right here. Oh. Oh, that's right, I forgot. I need to use Sylph. They are weak to Sylph, not weak to Undine. For some reason I tend to forget about that. Either way, welcome to Kakara. This is not enough money. You know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna do an extra round, because I'm not trying to do a record glitchless run here. What platform am I playing this on? This is the Super Nintendo Mini that I'm playing this on. Basically an official emulator device released by Nintendo that also happens to include Secret of Mana. And the reason why I prefer this version over any other, this is still effectively the exact same as any Super Nintendo version of the game. Well, NTSC Super Nintendo version of the game. But it does have one very small difference, and that is the flashing has been severely reduced, which makes it much more pleasant to the eyes. So, we're gonna level up Undine here. While we're at it, that way we should also have less trouble trying to take care of Boreal Face. Freeze is level 3 now. Then we start leveling up Air Blast. There we go. Alright, this should give me enough of a money buffer to be able to buy the fairy walnuts we need for the Ice Country afterwards. Because in the Ice Country we don't want to head back afterwards. After we defeat the Boreal Face. And Boreal Face has no particular weakness and really high magic resistance. Like, it's a significant step up from the previous boss in terms of magic resistance. And we just barely managed to defeat this thing using 3 fairy walnuts. So we need at least 1 more in order to defeat the thing afterwards with the Frost Gigas afterwards. What if we like flashing? Well, I'm sorry, but you're not gonna get it here. It's really that simple. Because, well, I'd rather make sure that people with, well, that have like a medical problem with flashing lights would be more comfortable. By the way, if anybody has SNES Mini controllers they would like to sell or knows where to buy them, I would be super happy to learn about that. Also, one more thing that I forgot, because I'm kinda talking and not thinking. Should have Icy, but Ice Country is one of the most dangerous places to go through in any speedrun. It's not lethal in a 1-player 2 controller because you have enough resources for money, but the enemies are super dangerous in here. Since they have really high range, they attack... Basically, they attack just super quickly and have really long range and move really fast too. That's kind of the short version about them, which is why I want to use frost weapons here, in order to mostly neutralize them. I was hoping... I was actually moving slightly too early with the lady there, and she wasn't ready to dash yet. With a dash it should have been fine. Okay. Here we go. Welcome to Boreal Face. Please don't face check. So this guy here, even though we are not getting any magic levels, this is effectively one of the most efficient ways to defeat this guy. This guy has so much HP and magic defense, it's kind of ridiculous. This is only 372 damage with one full volley of spells. $356. I feel like those are low rolls, but maybe that's just normal. I love the face of this thing right now. It's great. Alright, that's the third fairy walnut used, and with this volley he has to die. Oh! It's already dead! Okay, I think I'm slightly higher level than usual. The sprite has slightly more magic power. There we go. Very nice. This will give me a bit more of a buffer in order to level up Salamander as we go into the Ice Palace. I guess worst case scenario I could just not worry about the little friend. Also, we're coming up on 2 hours. So I think after we save Christmas, we're gonna take the first break. The break is gonna be 5-ish minutes, maybe slightly longer, because this is going to be a super long run. Also, Happy New Year to probably people slightly west of Japan at this point. Since this is going to be a super long run, I will want to just kind of take regular breaks, and the current plan is to take a break every 2-ish hours. Initially just a few minutes, and then probably a longer food break later. So if you're planning on taking a break, after the Ice Palace is going to be the break here. That's the plan. So, alright, there's gonna be Turtle. Turtle! So we now have Salamander. Salamander's spells are actually a lot like Sylph spells, in that technically Fireball is not the strongest spell, but I'm using it anyways. The boy's gonna get hit. I'm using it anyways because it is just only costing 2 MP, kind of like the Sylph spells. It's just more damage per MP spent, if you will, more economical. And I do want to level up Salamander to level 2. And we are nowhere near an inn to sleep, so I have to use Fairy Walnut in order to do this here. That's a nice crit right there. That might actually kill it already. Nope, not quite. Hit this one. Fun fact, these Frost Howlers, or Wolves, are actually not weak to fire. Nice. On the other hand, the Turtles, as well as the Clouds, are in fact weak to fire. One more spell cast will level up Salamander to level 1 here. I actually should check whether these enemies drop chests, because their common drop is a Fairy Walnut, which would also save me 1000 gold right here. I see. Welcome to your wild Anaconda, and well, I hope you have a happy new year as well. Thank you for dropping by, and I hope you have a good time. So we managed to afford 3 Fairy Walnuts, which is usually enough. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make it enough. The reason why I'm gonna make it enough is quite simple, because we can defeat a certain mini-boss with just weapons instead. It's inefficient, slightly slow, but it's guaranteed to work in comparison. Come on. There we go. Ow. Also, this is gonna be an issue if we are too low HP here. I actually have to heal. Oh, because this next screen here, the AI is basically guaranteed to get hit. And if they don't have enough HP... Oh wait, no. It's guaranteed to get hit on the way back. But I'm still going to play it reasonably simple and safe, and we use the balloon. The balloon is a great ability if you use it on the enemies, because that is effectively an 8-second long stun where they can't do anything. And I just realized I didn't recover the sprite's MP. I need some MP in order to efficiently get through these sections here. So what would be optimal is if I were to pygmy the sprite in order for them to cast spells faster. I need to pick up the claws I don't need here. But we just leveled up to level 1 Salamander, which is sufficient. Hit, didn't hit. And it's split up. Now we need to reset. These blue drops have ridiculous amounts of HP despite being weak to fire. Oh my goodness. Despite being weak to fire, we don't have an efficient way to kill them. Wow! Chance to hit, please! We have about a 35% chance to miss. We just missed 3 times in a row. They are really dangerous to try and get close to. So I want to use the appropriate spells here. By the way, fun fact, if I die in the Ice Palace, you actually don't game over, unlike most other areas. In the Ice Palace specifically, you get thrown out the front door with the boy being revived. The other 2 characters still dead. Kinda curious. Alrighty, so upcoming is a mini-boss fight. And this mini-boss fight here, normally I will want to use spells in order to skip the second phase of those little guys, but I'm just gonna play it by ear. Still going to use some fire to speed up the process, but here we go, using my strongest weapon. 264. We can... Oh, that's... Not anymore. I cannot. Once you deal 300 damage to these, they will transform. So the idea here is that we want to transform all of them, then they will slowly waddle towards our position, except the guy on the left, for some reason he's always stuck in the corner. And that's all we do. Just let the boy do the rest of the work. So this effectively preserves MP, but it's also a lot slower than trying to skip the second phase. So effectively the way this mini-boss works is they have the first phase has 600 HP total, but after they drop below 300 HP remaining, they will transform into the second form, which has 777 HP. Their HP pools are completely separate. But if you manage to kill the first form outright before it transforms by dealing one swing that deals at least 301 damage and kills it, you will be able to skip the second phase and effectively just, well, go significantly faster. But you need to specifically chain spells and time your attacks in order for that to be efficiently possible. And without enough practice right now, this guarantees that I have at the very least enough magic in order to defeat the boss at the end, the Ice Gigas. Does the girl have fire attack too? Is it not worth using? Specifically here, the girl's fire attack is actually worth using. Her attack spells have actually dramatically reduced, or well, lower, I suppose, not reduced, a lower power level than the sprite spells. But in this specific scenario, you can actually use the lady spells in order to chain the spells. Since you can't chain fireballs, you can, however, cast one spell from the lady and a fireball from the sprite, and that will, if you set it up properly, deal just enough damage to defeat these enemies here, which is very nice. The reason why I didn't do it in this case is because I want to have a method of getting past these slimes here, among other things. And Balloon costs 2 MP. I do not have enough fairy walnuts in order to give her the magic, so to speak. But yeah, Salamander is one of the few elemental schools, if you will, that allow the lady to deal damage, which is, well, very niche in a speedrun for it to be helpful, but if you do, let's say, a solo character challenge run with the lady, it is incredibly helpful. Also, once again, pygmying the sprite in order to cast spells quicker here. Time for your punishment. I was read that as a pirate, because your punishment. Alright, so here, whenever the boss here gets hurt, it will actually enter a hurt animation. And this is where I'm also going to use a spell with the lady. So the spell of the lady here is not meant to deal damage as much as it is just to lock the fire gigas in place until the sprite has recovered the MP and we can continue using fireballs. You don't get perfect chains with the fireballs, but because the boss keeps getting or going into its ouch animation, you effectively have enough time to just keep casting the fireballs most of the time. Until he does that, where he will effectively, well, get you, so to speak. Oh, the lady doesn't have any way to... gonna make her survive anyways. Gonna be a second fire freeze right here. But we gonna. But yeah. This is just enough to kill him with using just one fairy walnut here. We did have one more extra. That one is normally used for defeating the previous mini-boss trio quicker. But that's fine. No, we don't eat frogs. Frogs are friends, not food. Hey Tag, welcome. I hope you're doing well. Isn't cancelling damage with healing items a glitch? No. We don't categorize it as a glitch because we do what, in the Secret of Mana glitchless category, we do what is, generally speaking, considered to be normal gameplay. A character had low HP, and the character was about to get hit by a spell. What do? You heal the character. That's just the natural thing to do. Everybody does that. Either way, everybody, it is 2 hours. I'm going to get up, walk around, probably eat my first sandwich over here, and then we're gonna continue in about 5-ish minutes. So thank you so much for watching, and quick break, be right back. You're all awesome. And Happy New Year! Alrighty, I'm back. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and let's continue. So, real quick, this is the most dangerous part of the game, where AI control cactus will effectively get hit, and there's not really a good way to avoid this, so... Oh wow, the lady didn't get hit, that's unusual. You want to have enough HP or resources in order to survive, walking south of that screen in particular. So there's that one thing. Come on, guys. I should give the sprite the whip, because the whip needs to be on somebody. And it's just more convenient to be on the sprite, because that's what I'm used to. Uh-oh. We actually need to specifically have all the cactus alive, because ghosts are not allowed on cannon travel. So healing them up is more economic than letting them die and then reviving later. Hello! Welcome, everybody. The most dangerous part is when you have to pay your taxes. Definite taxes? Taxes in video game land. Okay. So this guy here allows you to travel. If we had a knocked out character, a ghost so to speak, they refuse to shoot out ghosts out of the cannon, so you have to revive them. So, and here we finally get a decent amount of consumables back, and even though we have one fairy walnut remaining, we're still going to use the inn here very specifically. And this is going to be one of the first big deviations from a glitchless speedrun compared to a 100% glitchless speedrun. Because coming up is one of the most efficient early grinding spots in the entire game, especially if you're trying to level up some weapon levels on top of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and level up a few weapons as much as I can in order to start gaining levels on them. Because right now with the enemies currently we still get full weapon experience, so this should be reasonably efficient. And here we go. I need to keep the sword and the spear at level 1. That is basically one of the most important factors, so to speak. But everything else here, I do want to start leveling up sooner rather than later, let's put it this way. Especially the melee weapons, because those are what I'm going to be using in order to level. But money is still an issue. So here we are. Happy New Year! Marsolox, thank you. Thank you so much for 2 months. Welcome back, and I'm glad you enjoy your stay. By the way, visually the weapons didn't update, but I think they deal the same, the proper damage. But technically that's also a glitch if you consider it that, I suppose. Alrighty. We need 10 MP total in order to open up all the switches with the sprite here. And here is the first set. This is where you have to use exploders specifically in order to open up the gate. And actually I can't cast any other spells yet. I wanted to cast Sylph attacks in order to start leveling up Sylph, but that wouldn't work too well. Okay, here you have to specifically cast Fireball on this thing here. And now having the lady knock out the rat here at the end, so we get weapon experience. And this chest up here gives us 1000 gold. 1000 gold may seem like a decent amount, but we actually don't open up this chest in order to get the money. We open up this chest in order to free one spawn slot. This area here specifically always reserves one enemy spawn slot for that chest. Now that it's no longer there, 3 enemies spawn here. The maximum enemy spawns you can have in one screen is 3 in Seeker of Mana. So effectively what I just did now is... let me update the X. I now have a decently strong melee weapon, which should kill these enemies in 2 swings. Oof, or not. Oh shoot. That's not good. Either way, normally these guys are really quick and easy to defeat. If I do it right anyways. Might be a bit more on the level than I expected it to be. And this is where I can actually gain a bunch of weapon levels and money for other purposes and leveling up weapons further as well. Plus we get more money, we get more levels, we have more maximum MP. Effectively this is just significantly more efficient than how I otherwise would have to play the next section of the game. So yeah, this is the first small grind. It's not a big one, but it is notable for basically something I actually came up with during the solo character challenge runs, because I suddenly started realizing, wait a second, coming back through here, there is 3 enemies right here after opening that chest. This is weirdly efficient, because they also have surprisingly low HP in comparison to other enemies at this stage of the game. And still give decent amount of, well, overall experience, really. So the axe is level 2, I can level it up to level 3, with the boy specifically. Then we exchange the boy's weapon for the lady's weapon. Also, this is a part where I should have actually bought an additional accessory for the sprite in particular. That way I could give the lady the power wrist, so she would have 5 more attack power. Bit late for that now, but hindsight. I will not remember next year. Because I would need to write notes. Happy New Year and welcome everybody, hope you're doing well. So here I have a bit of time to read chat and, well, watch things so to speak. Should be level 3 for axe, it is indeed. So we exchange this. The reason why melee weapons is kind of simple. They are the easiest to hit multiple enemies with. Specifically projectile weapons, as bow and javelin, they only ever hit exactly 1 enemy per projectile. So it's not nearly as efficient. This might just not be enough damage. Nope, it is. Yeah. Also, hitting them with the claw weapon is actually kind of difficult. So I should actually begin with the lady's axe swing instead. That makes more sense. Then switch over. The downside is she has less maximum reach, if you will. Makes you see real quick. What's the level on this? 2. So I think currently the maximum on the whip, so I need to exchange the sprite's weapon for something else as well. Otherwise we are going to, well, have inefficiencies with leveling. Weapon levels up to 2. By the way, in case you're curious, a lot of these strategies I kind of came up during the run when I was doing 100% runs. This has not been properly routed out, so if you do a proper route and get decent luck, I bet you could get like a 16-18 hour run. Just kind of trying to run Seeker of Mana 100% with this kind of category if you wanted to. But to my knowledge, nobody else is running this. And I'm just running this for fun, so we just stick to whatever may work at the time. It's 9 AM and you had a chocolate chip cookie for breakfast. Oh, that sounds tasty. Nice. Welcome to you, Willard. I hope you're doing well. Good morning. And happy almost not yet New Year's. By the way, Boomerang is one of the interesting weapons that can hit twice. Because the Boomerang has two portions to its attack. One is a melee attack. If you charge it up to, let's say, level 1 charge attack. And one is a projectile attack, and those actually do count as two separate attacks. Which is why, maybe unexpectedly so, the Boomerang is one of the strongest weapons in the entire game. Okay. Do I need to pick up this axe here? No, apparently not. Okay, we go. We move. So we are now significantly higher level than we were before. Please stop. We're now significantly higher level than we were before. And we have more maximum MP and we have significantly more money. This is effectively an early boost to our economy in a glitchless run, if you will. Please stop doing that. Oh no. Alright, we're mostly fine here. This is where we need to pick me the sprite. So the sprite can cast spells slightly quicker. So sprite only has 2 MP remaining. Which means we have to immediately recover or use a fairy walnut. What I traditionally did in my previous glitchless speedruns of this game, I ended up leveling up various spells in here to the next level, because this is the first time you have actually economic freedom enough in order to do so. But because, well, I'm not really killing as much stuff along the way in terms of safety, it's not necessary in a sense. I can just do this here instead. Because I will be leveling and using more spells, generally speaking, anyway, since my goal in normal speedruns is to just defeat and get through all the bosses as efficiently and quickly as possible. But in this kind of speedrun, I have to think long term, and using up more spell casts on a boss, as long as I'm not running out of resources, is more beneficial because I'm leveling up the spells higher. So overkilling enemies is fine, is basically what I'm trying to say. Since at some point I will have to watch the spell animations anyways. The rabbit opens the food box and finds exactly 1,200 dropped frames. Since it's a food box, the rabbit assumes that they are supposed to be eaten and harms them in one go. It hops at 100 FPS now for 12 seconds. Yep, and we still have the consistent same frame drops. I'm sorry about that. Hope it's not too disturbing. I assume most people are mostly listening anyways. Oh, I should have started a local recording. You know what, I'm gonna do that now. I can upload it to YouTube without frame drops.